Greetings everyone, and welcome to this short video on the differences between the DS or defocus smoothing and non-DS versions of Canon's spectacular RF 85mm f1.2L lens, and if you're able to afford one of these little monsters, which one you should buy. We all know that the DS version of the lens is the same as the original but offering smoother bokeh, but what are some of the other differences you should be aware of? They both cost a fortune, so you might as well know some of the facts first. Well, as you can see right off the bat, they're much more similar than they are different, being essentially the same lens design in many aspects. Firstly, the build quality, size and shape are the same, and their weight is the same too. Both offer a good degree of weather sealing to them. The key difference is that the DS lens has specially coated elements inside of it to smoothen out its bokeh, although those coatings tend to have other side effects to them too. Sometimes lenses with special elements or coatings within them like this are hostile to autofocus systems and so focus a lot more slowly. However, oddly enough in my tests, the two different lenses seemed just as good as each other. In fact, if anything, the DS lens seemed to lock onto focus a little more confidently, which was a surprise to me. The key difference with the DS lens lies, of course, in the quality of its bokeh. Now, both lenses can obviously get you some very out of focus backgrounds. The quality of those backgrounds in the original non-DS version of the lens is reasonably smooth, no real problems, but it's nothing particularly to write home about either. Those backgrounds get slightly jumbled sometimes, and we see quite a clear cat's eye shape to bright points of light in the corners. However, as you can see here, the bokeh on a DS lens is far smoother. The outer edge of bokeh highlights smooth themselves away into a perfect transition with the rest of the background, and even those cat's eye shapes in the corners look less prominent. This is more or less the smoothest looking bokeh I've ever seen in any camera lens ever, including other lenses with special coatings or apodization elements. And that's what you're really paying for here. The backgrounds on the DS lens look stunning. Something that you might notice is that the DS lens's backgrounds actually look a bit less out of focus as a result of this. The narrow depth of field of both lenses should really be the same, but the darkening of the bokeh edges with the DS lens makes those backgrounds seem a tiny bit deeper, well, to me anyway. Something else I should just mention here is that the defocus smoothing effect diminishes as you stop the lens's aperture down, and at about f5.6 it's gone. A side effect of the DS lens's special coatings on the inside is that they reduce the lens's light transmission. Even though you're still getting those lovely out of focus backgrounds, the effective aperture in terms of light transmission is more like f2. You can see that in the differences in shutter speeds across all these comparison pictures. That means the DS lens won't be quite as capable when shooting in darker situations, although it's still letting in quite a lot of light there. So that's the main difference and key benefit of the DS lens, that wonderful bokeh. When it comes to sharpness, again, they're both the same, as far as I could tell anyway, on a 30 megapixel camera, brilliantly sharp at f1.2, and even better when stopped down to f2 or darker, so no problems there. The only real optical difference I could find was in vignetting. Oddly enough, the DS version of the lens displays more vignetting or darker corners than the non-DS version. They both start off about the same at f1.2, but stop the lens's apertures down and a clear difference emerges. To be honest though, that's easy to take care of with in-camera corrections or editing software. Oh, and there's one more difference. The 85mm f1.2 lens is hideously expensive, and the DS version, well, even more hideously expensive. Honestly, if you're seriously looking at a lens at this price point, then at this level, the difference probably won't bother you that much. Which one should you get then? Well, to me, it's quite simple. Without a second's hesitation, I personally would get the DS version of the lens. The quality of its narrow depth of field images is almost unrivaled, and there are very few disadvantages compared to the normal version. However, anyone who wants to do a lot of work in very low light situations, especially video makers, will probably prefer the original version instead, or indeed anyone wanting to save just a little extra money.